This podcast is a quest for well-being, a quest for a meaningful life through the exploration of fundamental truth. Enlightening ideas, insights on physical, mental, and spiritual health. The inspiration is love. The aspiration is to awaken new ways of thinking that can lead us to a new way of being well. Welcome to Body, Mind, and Soul Healing Conversations.
Tuned In is an inspiring story of one man's relentless pursuit of a dream and a revealing testimony to the power of music in all our lives. The unique confluence of Jim Wilson's two careers, piano technician, confidant to the stars, and a globally successful recording artist, has led to extraordinary experiences with some of the world's most exalted music legends. Singing Beatle songs with Paul McCartney, limo rides with Elton John, road trips with Carole King, and horseback riding with Dan Fogelberg. But beyond this everyman's unique telling of intimate celebrity tales, Tuned In is an inspiring story of one man's relentless pursuit of a dream and a revealing testimony to the power of music in all our lives. Emerging from a troubled childhood in a broken West Texas home, a young man moves to Los Angeles to pursue fame and fortune as a singer-songwriter. He soon strays from his mission when his piano tuning sideline blossoms into a career as a piano technician to the entertainment industry's biggest names. His help in the development of the world's first MIDI-adapter for acoustic piano leads to him sharing adventures, sessions, meals, and laughs with dozens of his childhood heroes. His front row seat provides him with a rare and fascinating view into their creative processes. But when his world is shattered by his dearest friend's sudden and untimely death, he is forced to question the true meaning of success. He returns to his heart's purpose, takes a leap into the unknown, and sets out on a solo career, recording and performing his signature style of piano-featured instrumentals. Valeria interviews Jim Wilson. He is an acclaimed composer and performer, the author of Tuned In, Memoirs of a Piano Man, Behind the Scenes with Music Legends and Finding the Artist Within. Jim Wilson could have simply dismissed himself as a competent piano tuner technician, even as an exceptional one, but he was and is so much more. From a broken home in Amarillo, Texas, to a multi-award-winning recording artist, Jim Wilson's journey is a captivating tale of showbiz glamour, personal tragedy, self-discovery, and dogged determination. And, as is typical of Jim Wilson, he's turned out to be a pretty good wordsmith. Tuned In, Memoirs of a Piano Man is a page-turner and a life-changer. It's a self-help book in the form of an autobiography. It is entertaining, revealing, and full of lessons for musicians, fans, and all readers. Jim Wilson's life direction was set when he was given a guitar at age 7, then began composing songs at age 9. Soon after moving from West Texas to LA in his early 20s, he gained a reputation as a respected piano technician, catering to the highest echelon of the music industry. Jim helped develop the first MIDI-adapter for acoustic piano in the 80s, which became an instant hit with artists and studios around the world. It was the shocking, untimely death of his closest friend that forced Jim to question the whole purpose of his life. With the love and support of his musical heroes, most significantly his friend and mentor, Dan Fogelberg, Jim set out on a solo career, composing, recording, and performing his signature style of piano-featured instrumentals. 4 of Jim's 10 recordings have hit the Billboard Top 20s. He's had 2 PBS specials, and his music has streamed over 75 million times by fans around the globe. He was recently made a lifetime member of the Recording Academy. He enjoys scuba diving, skiing, pilot lessons, and mountain biking. Tuned In is Jim's first book. Meet Jim at jimwilsonmusic.com. Here's the interview with Jim Wilson.
In your own words, who is Jim Wilson and how did you become an author?
Who is Jim Wilson? The question I've been asking for all my life.
Yes.
It's an ongoing pursuit, I suppose, as it should be. And
Yeah.
the first thing that comes to mind is a poster that I had on my wall as a kid, and it said, "The important thing is this, to be willing to let go of what you are for who you could become." So who is Jim Wilson? Well, I'm a piano technician. I'm a recording artist. I'm now an author. But all those things, that's a great question. Who are you? And it should be fluid, I think. It shouldn't be ever just carved in stone. It should be, well, what is life offering me now, and what's my response to it? And since one of the things we mentioned was that I'm an author.
Yes.
In my book, Tuned In, Memoirs of a Piano Man, I talk about my fun encounters with some extraordinary musical legends that I've had the honor of getting to know and interact with. There's some fun window dressing in the book, and the first part of the book is, getting to sing Beatles songs with Paul McCartney on the same piano bench as him, and this magical 4-hour hang that we had, and road trips with Carole King, and horseback riding with my hero Dan Fogelberg, and limo rides with Elton John, and just a whole bunch of other celebrity stories. But the gist of the book really happens. The book is broken up into 3 parts: gearing up, me growing up in Amarillo, Texas, dreaming of making a life in music, whatever that would be. I had no idea. Part 2, tuning up, and then that's me, becoming a piano technician as a means of supporting myself in Los Angeles while trying to make it as a songwriter, singer-songwriter. And then that little skill turning into something that just would lead me places I'd have no idea where it would. I had no idea that it would just, take me to England a dozen times by McCartney and Elton and all these people, and me helping to develop the first MIDI-adapter for acoustic piano, which would lead to all those recording artists. And then the third part of the book, Valeria, is called Tuning In. And it seems to me that's maybe the most germane to the theme of your wonderful podcast and your mission. It's tuning into one's spiritual purpose. So, I was going along and here in California, Los Angeles, and developed this incredible business of catering to the highest echelon of the music industry, and so much fun, and being in that jet stream with all these people. And then it took really the death of my best friend, who had a heart attack at the age of 37. And that was after having hit the snooze button on my dreams for decades, really. It's like, it's very comfort kills, as I like to say, because as this business kept building and I kept developing these celebrity clients, and it's like, well, who needs to pursue the artistic vision? This is great. I'm getting to be with all these people, and then, like I said, my best friend died of a heart attack, and just before he died, I went to his house and he played me this beautiful sonata that he had written. And even though he was a very successful songwriter, written hit songs for Celine Dion and et cetera, he was very successful. His big dream was to record an album under his own name and put who he really was out there. And when he died, it shattered me in a way that even the death of my brother a decade prior to that couldn't do. This, because Claude was such an achiever, and I watched him just one by one tick off all the checklist of what he wanted to do in life. And we would have these mastermind sessions of what we would dream of doing with our lives, and supported each other in our goals. I watched him do all those things, buy a house, become the top arranger in LA, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, and then when he had this dream of creating his own album of his own instrumental music, I thought, man, stand back, ladies and gentlemen, watch how it's done, because our brother Claude here is going to show us.
Gosh.
And
yeah.
Sorry.
Oh yes, yeah, yeah. Oh my God.
And then in the hospital room, I just holding his cold hand, it really, really landed with me. There are no guarantees of tomorrow's,
Right.
So from Claude's passing, and I resolved right then and there that I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to let the dream die in my heart, because I saw how quickly that could happen with Claude, with anybody. So I resolved right then and there. And the two main lessons that I got from that, Valeria, number one, life is short. You must live your dream. Get the hell on with it now. Stop hitting the snooze button. You don't know when that you're going to get that little tap on the shoulder. And the other lesson that I got from that was, if you push too hard, stress can kill you. So it's these two lessons are like, they're diametrically opposed. It's like driving with the parking brake on. So there is this balance. The one tattoo that I have is on my left arm. It's the yin and yang symbol. And it's a little reminder that, life is a delicate balance. And so there is that thing. Both lessons that I got from Claude's passing are 100% true. They're both equally valid. Life is short. Get on with your dreams. Whatever it is you want to do with your life, do it now, because there's no guarantee of another tomorrow. And if you push too hard, stress can kill you. So you have to find this balance of pursuing your vision and giving it your all, but not being so obsessed that it torments you or craters you. So it's this balancing act, and there's a certain amount of allowing that one must learn to do. So you can, my dad, bless his heart, rest in peace. He was a big dreamer, but he could never really follow through. So part of me said, screw that. I'm going to, whatever it takes, I'll just push hard enough and I'll make it happen. Well, yeah, there's something to be said about, drive and ambition, but you also have to trust in the power of intention and to get out of the way of the universe. And there's, it is astounding once you really, really commit to a goal or a vision, how the universe does seem to kind of just pave the way for you. And that was the case when Claude died, and I said, okay, I'm going to record my first album of piano featured instrumentals. But I first had to kind of reevaluate. Well, gosh, first of all, what is the meaning of success? It's not just being a celebrity piano tuner. I came here to LA to make some art. But that original vision that I had that drove me out here 20 years prior to that had kind of faded. That whole singer-songwriter thing didn't ring true any longer. And I had to dig deep and try to find, well, then what is it? So I had written these pieces on piano, Valeria, that it really wasn't my first instrument. Guitar is my first instrument, but piano, I just got so much joy out of creating these pieces that are, for my own amusement and my own spiritual gratification. Man, doesn't it feel great when I play this 16th note pattern in B minor on piano and then do the sharp 5, and it just sounds so cool, and put my James Taylor folk Appalachia influenced melodies on top of that, and this weird little combination of everything. And I was answering to nobody. I was answering to the muse and creating these pieces. And when Claude died, I thought, okay, if I create one album that's of these pieces that maybe 6 people hear, that will be enough. Just the fact that I had some, if I got that tap on the shoulder and I'm out of here, there's something that I've left behind that people will know this is what was in Jim Wilson's heart. And it was really scary for me. And that's, I suppose, if there's any message that I want any listener to take away, that whatever dream you have, get on with it, because life is short. That's obviously the main message. But also, even if don't let fear stop you, because there's losing face temporarily from reaching for a dream and falling flat. The far worse fate is not reaching for that and then dying with your dream in your heart.
Right.
So that is the central driving force of my life of the past 25 years since I first recorded my first album, and here I am 10 albums later, and 100 million streams of my music and a couple of PBS specials. And then, the pandemic hit, and I realized that some of these stories that I've been telling that people really seem to get a lot of joy out of, that they could be of value to people. So I started writing these stories down, and as I began writing it, it became clear that it's really a much bigger narrative. It's not just, these fun celebrity stories. It's really, who do you become when you reach for the brass ring, and coming up against that brick wall of when you reach for a dream against the odds, and how do you keep going, and how do you find the courage to keep going, and how do you confront those fears? And Sean Colvin has one of my favorite lines of all time: "May we all find salvation in professions that heal." There's something that's so great about that, and that kind of sums up the driving force behind my music. And my book, the wanting to create something that is of value to people, that can entertain people, whether it's my music or my book, Tuned In. I, by the way, released it as an audiobook. I recorded the book and incorporated 38 pieces of my music. And I think if there's one piece of me that I'd have to choose to be my legacy, it would be my audiobook, because that's like every little insight that I've ever gained, every fun story. And then, like I said, 38 pieces of my music. And I had one fan who told me that she listened to it 6 times in a row, and it's being extremely well received, and got nothing but 5-star reviews on Amazon. And so it's very gratifying to be able to have that in the world, and to hopefully have it contribute value to people's lives,
Yes. Gosh. Yes, a billion times to that. And you have, in a beautiful way. I love your love affair with life.
Yes.
That's what it is, in art and wisdom. So that's one of the things that when it comes to your message, you mentioned, live your dream, do what is in your heart. Don't die with it there. But also find balance, so we don't die from stress. So we talked briefly off record about the Serenity Prayer, about focus on what we can control, and in letting go of the things we can't control, and that we call it wisdom. So would you say that that's the nature of balance?
Yeah, I think I would, and I've been returning to that prayer. There's some, in troubled times, it's a good one to remember. It's, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can,
Right.
and the wisdom to know the difference. It's so simple.
Yes.
I know they use that in AA. I'm not in AA, but I just, I have a lot of friends who are, and we talk about that, how that really sums it up. You know, if you're going to obsess over the news or anything, it's like, well, be very careful, because there's a limitless amount of news that you could get yourself twisted over, literally. Even if I limit myself to 30 minutes of news, I know that I could probably read for the entire day of things that are of valid interest and that are worthy of my attention. But in the end, you can't, and you have to live a balanced life. So I have to kind of keep coming back to that thought, that sentiment, that give me the serenity to accept the things I can't change, and just keep a tab on those, and the world will go on just fine without me, without me trying to control it, trying to do whatever, but, and yes, well, if there's something you disagree with politically, you stand up, you raise your voice, and you participate in, whatever public thing you can do. But beyond that, you just have to let it go. It's not worth the sacrificing your spiritual well-being for it.
Yes, that's exactly how I feel. Yes. I love that you brought that up. It's a beautiful reminder, really, because most of us, we know that from experience, from memory, we know that, but we tend to forget. And I think that's when listening to you, say that, and then I say that often too to myself, so I can be reminded to stay present and I try, not perfect, present, so I don't lose myself. That part that loves life, the joy for life, but not in a what's the word? In a cocooned way. Some people, they just kind of bubbled themselves and they try so hard not to be affected by anything.
Right.
It's beyond that. It's exactly that. It's not knowing that we cannot control the world outside of us. So only how I respond to whatever happens. So that really it kind of puts the power back where it belongs, which is within ourselves. And
you said it exactly right. You can't live in a cocoon. You can't live in a bubble, but you have to protect yourself a little bit. You do need a bit of a shield.
Right. Yes. And that would be the wisdom within. I think I love the way in your book, so tuned in, memoirs of a piano man, behind the scenes with music legends and finding the artist within.
Yes.
That caught my attention.
Good.
Yeah, the artist within.
Good. Man, did we ever wrestle. I felt very, very lucky with finding that title, the Tuned In. It's pithy, it's kind of clever, a nice little play on words. It works on both levels of tuning pianos, but also tuning into your higher purpose as an artist. So I'm so grateful for that title. But then I wanted the subtitle to convey both aspects of this book, behind the scenes with music legends, having this incredible opportunity to, like I said, sing songs on Beatle songs with Paul McCartney and limo rides with Elton John and all this, but also to, finding the artist within. That's the bigger mission of this book, and in life, it's very important to find that artistic impulse and to be in touch with it and try to create some sort of artistic value and legacy. Right.
Which you have already. Yeah. Thank you for your beautiful contribution.
Lovely.
A question that comes to mind is, it came to mind before actually, and then I wrote it down here so I don't forget.
Okay.
What have you learned, let's say the insights from this, generalized idea of success, fame, fortune, all those things. So what would you say to young people? Because I do see them still infatuated with the idea of success being being in the hands of fame or wealth.
Yeah.
So talk to me for a moment about that.
Well, I would say that one of the biggest pitfalls in relation to that is social media, because on social media, it's so easy to doom scroll, to get FOMO, to fear of missing out.
Yeah.
And it's hard enough for me, but I should think that a kid growing up in this environment where, you're not just, you don't just feel like you're competing against the most popular girl in school or the most popular boy. You're competing against, Orlando Bloom and who he's dating and whoever, who are the biggest stars, and fear of missing out. And God, I want to be like that. I want to be rich and famous, and not to knock any particular individual, but I will say that, the Kim Kardashians of the world, or that kind of mentality, and bless anybody who's got it figured out where they can kind of game the system and make money. But there does seem to be a bit of focus on fame rather than pursuing art. There's and again, not to single out her or anybody, but there is a large part of the new social media focus that's on people who don't necessarily, they're famous for the sake of being famous. What did they do? What did they contribute? Well, nothing. They made $1 billion. Oh, good for them. So that's for any young person growing up, I would just say, if you want to create music or art or paint or whatever, do that. And you learn to love the process, and you do it for the sake, art for art's sake, and then your art has the chance of being the best it can be, and the most that chance it's going to connect with people. It's like me with my music that I created for myself, literally with no intention of making a record out of it, but just wanted to do it for my own spiritual gratification. And it turns out that those were the most true, accurate representation of who I am as an artist,
Right. Gosh. You see, that's really needed in a way, let's say, message, you being the message itself, even beyond your book and your music. It's to me, I'm talking to the message. It's
right.
The real thing. So it's a living, right? The living message. You are the message. Your life has been the message. And that's a profound one that we have lost contact with, most humans, especially young people. You do say something the very beginning of your book. Is that the dedication? Yes. You quoted Neil Postman.
Yes.
Children are the living messages we send to a time we will not see.
Yes.
I mean, this just stopped me, for a while.
Yeah.
Deep reflection here.
And that is a great quote. And
yes.
And my story does talk about how when I was playing in a band when I was a kid, I would get a phone call from a girl announcing that I was going to be a father and she a mother. It's like, and it really freaked me out at the time. And, ultimately it would become the greatest blessing of my life. And I'm a grandfather times 4. And I just got a little handwritten note from my grandson saying, very concerned about you with the fires. And, oh my God, it's just such a deeply rewarding thing. And so ultimately that's why I dedicated this to, the kids in my life, and my hope that this book is of value. My stories, my message might be of value to them, that they might reach for their dreams in spite of seemingly insurmountable odds.
Right. Gosh, this is, I mean, the word's beautiful. I have to say it again. It's truly, truly beautiful what you have done. And I know that it's almost like letting universal intelligence, work through you and just listening to your heart and following those steps. And it's true, it's not easy. But as long as we keep that connection alive, then we'll feel alive. We'll be fully alive as you have been in your life through your music and now through the book as well. So truly beautiful. Another, do you want to make a comment about that? I do have another question for you.
No,
so many questions.
Lovely.
So, and you also talked about Claude, his name?
Claude.
Claude. Yes. So I have a question for you about suffering. How do you make sense of suffering? Why do we suffer? And why do some people suffer more than others or die even before others?
Yeah. Well, it does come down to some degree of how we're wired.
Yeah.
And then I also kind of keep circling back to one of my favorite quotes from Abraham Lincoln, who said, "Most people are about as happy as they make up their minds to be."
Yes.
And I know that seems like an oversimplification, and that certainly isn't to diminish anyone's suffering.
Right.
But when events happen to us, as they will, it's not the events of our life that determine our happiness. It's how we choose to interpret them. That's one of the core beliefs that I have. Yeah. And yes, when you get a hard left punch, feel it, cry in your bones.
Yeah.
Allow yourself that downtime to experience the grief.
Right.
And then I think if it's the loss of somebody, they certainly would want you to pick up and move on and to learn from whatever it is, to take their message, whatever that is in life, and carry it forward. I know a number of people who've lost their loved ones, and one in particular is having a very, very difficult time with it, and can't seem to let go of the grief even after a decade. And we have our concerns, friends of this person, but also know that there's only so much that we can do as friends, and ultimately it's up to each individual to take the lesson, whatever that is, allow yourself time to grieve, and then you have to, at a certain point, pick yourself up and try to move on. And it doesn't serve any function to just allow yourself to be swallowed up. It's easier said than done sometimes, and I know. Right. And for some people, it's extremely difficult, but gotta try to do that.
True, and that's a tough one, right? It's very challenging. As an experience I don't have of losing. I lost my ex-husband, but we are not together anymore. So, but I still felt it. Yeah, it's quite powerful. I have heard something before about grief. Somebody said, you probably have heard this too. Grief is love with nowhere to go, with no place to go, something like that. Do you resonate with this?
I do.
With this quote?
Yeah.
Yeah, with nowhere to go.
Yeah. So I guess if we're carrying on the thought of what we were just talking about, it's like, okay, well, take that grief and express it and allow it to move through you, and then embrace it as a part of you, and be willing to then therefore try to take the next step and find a place for it to go. Yes. Grief is love with nowhere to go. I like that.
Right. Yeah. I love what you said too about finding a place that we can redirect that love. A place, a thing, perhaps. A dream, a forgotten dream. Who knows?
Yeah.
I like that. It's
Beautiful.
meaning, right? Creating meaning out of suffering. And this is something that I have done within my own life. I'm always creating meaning and trying to create the most useful, let's say, helpful meaning possible.
Mm-hmm.
So I could keep moving forward in a meaningful way, so I could have a meaningful life. So it has been the case now too. It's always that way. But you see, we are not the same. So, and I question that with some sadness that not all of us can do that. And some of us, like your friend, and even my husband too, he lost his sister long ago. And I feel in his eyes, the sadness is so deep, and cries. It's incredible to witness that. I mean, I honor every moment of it. Yes, another, yes, I have something else, something that I have in front of me here. On your website, you have the story of Maxie, the cat. So that put a smile on my face, just looking at the picture too. So talk to me about that, the story. I'd love for you to share that too here.
Funny that you should say that. Just before I started this interview, a friend of mine emailed me that their dog is on his way out and has lost his hearing, lost his sight. And I said, what a grave injustice it is that they live such shorter lives than us, and that, that we have to see them leave. And just as I began this, my sweet cat Maxie sat on laid down on her little perch here beside me, and she's just such a great source of comfort and joy. We 4 years ago, this girl was in a parking lot in a 7-Eleven parking lot, saw this little 1-week-old zygote of a little kitten, and bless her heart, she saw this thing and she picked it up, and she was going car to car going, "Is this yours?" And nobody would claim it, and she wouldn't leave it. She would, she held the little kitty in one hand, the other hand she started making calls, and she called and found the Cat Connection, a nonprofit organization. They drove all the way down. The CEO drove all the way down from the valley, probably a 45-minute hour drive down to pick up this little kitten, took it to a vet here in Sherman Oaks, California. And the vet said it had ringworms so bad they didn't think it was going to live through the night. Well, they nurtured it and healed it, and 4 months in a cage, and then a foster home took in the little cat, and that's when I saw the picture of this little 6-month-old kitten and just fell in love, and with the little spirit behind the eyes, and we were so right, and so we took this little sweet soul in, and she was so terrified of people to begin with. And then little by little, she's come out of her shell, and she's just an extraordinary little soul. And she's funny, and she knows to do these things that make us laugh. She stages. Her name is Maxie, and she stages these little Max attacks where she will lie in wait, and knowing that you're going to be passing a certain place, and she'll lie in wait and then wait to spring out and surprise you. And then cuddles on your lap and does these tricks. JimWilsonMusic.com/Maxie. There's a little 3-minute video that I put together of the story of her and all the little she taught herself parkour, and our little furry critters, my God, they add so much value to our lives.
They do, yes. I have a dog too, a big one. Yes, it changed the energy in the house. Completely. It's amazing.
God,
It might be because they live in this timeless space, right? There's no sense. I don't know. Some scientists believe, or some people believe that they do have a sense of self, animals, but I don't know.
Well, I'm with you. It does seem a bit like we're trying to impose our reality onto theirs. Having
Right.
said that,
Yeah.
I did read that they do certain things out of embarrassment, and I do think I've noticed with her that if she does something and she's a little embarrassed, she'll immediately start like taking a bath, like no, nothing to see here, just taking a bath.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're just, I think this spontaneity, they're just in the moment. And perhaps the reason why they don't live long is that they live at all, right? They just live,
Right.
they just, how can I put that? Like my dog is all about, it's so playful. It's all about play. He loves to play.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, gosh, I wish we humans were more like that, more playful. Right. In contact with our hearts, like in touch with the heart, with our dreams. That would reflect that in a way.
I think where you started with this is that you're 100% in the moment. There's no thought of like, oh God, what kind of a mark am I going to leave on the world? And there's no, just like what's happening right this second,
Yes. Yeah. That's it. So that's beautiful that you added her there to your website. That's a beautiful touch. Like you said, the soul is a soul. It's the soul speaks. It's a beautiful message too. It symbolizes a message. Yeah, coming from you. It's beautiful. And then I want to mention that, we're almost at the end. At the end of the book, love, love, love. So you say this actually was a capture in it's a daily reminder for you, and that has to do with something else that I'm just reading part of it. Love is all we leave behind. So I almost want to title this episode, with this sentence. I want to. I don't know. Do you think it would be a good idea? Love is all we leave behind. There's something about that when I thought about you and your music and in your life. That came to mind. Love immediately came to mind. So yes, is that something that you would agree to have that as a title? Love
yes,
behind.
It's and as the way that I mentioned that in my book is that I'm not entirely sure that I'm an authority on speaking about the meaning of life. But I do know that the words that are on the little postcard that was sent to me announcing the passing of a dear friend, Stephanie, and her beautiful smiling face behind these Ray-Ban sunglasses, and that was the caption that these people had said, inviting us to go to her memorial service. Love is all we leave behind.
Yes.
And I have that card still 30 years later up on my, where I see it every single day. And that's a great reminder. It's like, yes, do what you can and what you must in the world and to make a living, to make your mark. But at the end of the day, love is all we leave behind.
Right. Gosh, I love that. I'll use the same word. Yes. I will have this as the title. And of course I will add another something else in it. There's something else you said. And thank you for bringing the context of that too. I do have in front of me, but I tend to not look at life as part of life, but some things kind of resonate, cause my attention more than others for some reason. Maybe beyond death, I know love never dies. So that's something that I know from my own experience too here. So that there's something about love. Then if we can keep love alive, miracles, magic happens. It's just it's a transformative energy. It's beyond energy, really. For me, to me, it's the essence of life. Is the oxygen of life.
Yes, there you circle back to that. You mentioned that earlier. I love that. Love is the oxygen of life. That's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Love that.
Yeah, it really feels like that to every part of my being. So, and there's something else that you said. I could leave it at that, but you said the calling to create art is indeed a sacred gift. That also really resonated with me. This passage here.
those are words that was said to me by my friend Dan Fogelberg. I'd been up to his ranch a half a dozen times, so seven or eight times in Colorado. And he became a dear friend. Dan Fogelberg, if you're not familiar with him, is a great American singer-songwriter. He left us over 10 years ago.
Yeah, I researched him. I did.
Incredible body of work, one of the great American singer-songwriters. And I got to do some work for him on his pianos up at his ranch near Pagosa Springs, Colorado, and the 600-acre ranch up there. And went up there many, many times and went skiing with him and horseback riding. And he became a dear, close friend, and he became a champion of my work. And there was a time when I was really, he got to see my whole artistic career blossom, and me getting signed to Angel EMI, and them wanting me to tour. And I was really scared of that. And we just spent a week at his ranch in Colorado, and he was seeing me off, and he was sitting in the front seat of the rental car as I was about to head back to Albuquerque and then catch a flight. And I was telling him, he was saying how proud of me he was for everything I was doing. And I told him how scared I was. And he said, don't look down, just keep your eyes on the horizon. And, creating art is a sacred gift, right. And he's 100% right. That's being like I said, the Sean Colvin lyric, may we all find salvation in professions that heal. Well, may we all find our own way to contribute some art, some sort of thing in our lives that be of benefit to others in this world, so creating art and some sort of aesthetic blessing in the world is a great thing.
Yes, a billion times to that again. And thank you so much again for your beautiful presence, wise presence too, kind. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm honored to have been your guest, and it was a joy to speak with you.
Oh, yes, it's been my joy to kind of witness your joy and kind of together create this reality that's in a way in the world but not of the world. Right. So thank you.
Right.
And before we say goodbye for today, Jim, would you like to read a passage in your book, or say add anything that you left unsaid?
Let's see. I think we covered. I don't have my book up here, but I guess if we're gonna leave on a sentiment, then I think that's the one. It's creating art and leaving some sort of art in the world is it's a high calling, and be willing to reach for that dream, even if it means possibly losing face.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's amazing how some part of the work I do, that's something that I'm very, very close to my heart, is healing. So,
yes.
And I see that clearly with music, art, the power to heal that it has. The one who is creating the art, and to the ones who are being, that are being touched by it. So thank you so much for the contribution to that too, to healing. Before we say goodbye again, I wanted to mention your website, jimwilsonmusic.com. It will be clickable on the podcast notes. Thank you so much again, Jim, for your beautiful presence, and we'll talk soon. We'll be in touch again.
Lovely. Thank you very, very much, dear.
Thank you. Bye for now.
All right, Valeria. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. To learn more about Jim Wilson and his work, please visit jimwilsonmusic.com.
To learn more about this podcast, please visit fitforjoy.org/podcast. Thank you again for listening, and bye for now.